Thomas stood and walked to the window. Through the thick glass he could see nothing but darkness and the shapes of ancient trees. He felt the weight of the decision pressing down on him. "What would you do?" he asked the shepherd. "I can't answer that," the shepherd said. "I'm not human. I don't lose time or remember it the way you do. I only collect, I only preserve. The choice of what to do with what's been lost, that's yours." Thomas turned back to face the ancient being. "But you must have an opinion. You've been doing this for how long?" "Long enough to know that there's no right answer," the shepherd said. "Only consequences. Every choice leads somewhere. The question is which consequences you're willing to live with." "Tell me the consequences then," Thomas said. "If I break the bottle, what happens?" The shepherd settled back into their chair. The firelight flickered across their ageless face. "If you break the bottle, the villagers will remember everything. They will remember the plague, yes, and the deaths. That grief will return, fresh and raw as if it happened yesterday, even though 2 centuries have passed. Some may not be able to bear it. Some may break under the weight of it." Thomas winced. "But," the shepherd continued, "they will also remember everything else. Every moment of love, every kindness, every joy, every connection. They will remember their whole lives, not just fragments. They will know who they are completely. They will have the richness of full memory. And if I leave things as they are, the losing continues. People drift through their days, perpetually slightly confused, slightly disconnected. They never quite know themselves fully. They never quite connect deeply, because how can you truly know another person if you're constantly forgetting who you are? But they also never have to bear the full weight of grief. They're protected in a way from the worst of life's pain." Thomas was quiet for a long time, thinking. Outside, the wind picked up, rustling through the ancient trees. "Is it ethical," he finally asked, "to force people to remember things that might destroy them? Things they didn't choose to forget in the first place, their ancestors chose for them, but still, they've lived their whole lives this way. Who am I to change that?" "A valid question," the shepherd said. "But is it ethical to keep them in this state of partial existence? To deny them their full lives, their full selves? Even if it protects them from pain?" "Also valid," the shepherd said. Thomas ran his hands through his hair in frustration. "You're not helping." The shepherd smiled slightly. "I'm not supposed to help. This is your choice, Thomas. Yours alone. I can only tell you this. There is no choice that doesn't cause some harm. No path that doesn't lead to suffering for someone. The question isn't how to avoid harm. That's impossible. The question is what kind of harm you can live with. What kind of world you want to create." The shepherd offered Thomas a bed for the night, a small room upstairs with a narrow cot and a window that looked out over the forest. Thomas lay awake for hours, listening to the wind and the creaking of old wood and the weight of his own thoughts. He thought about autonomy, the right of people to make their own choices, to know their own lives. The villagers hadn't chosen this forgetting. It had been chosen for them by ancestors who were desperate and broken. Was it right to continue that choice generation after generation without anyone's consent? But then, if he broke the bottle, wasn't he also making a choice for them, forcing them to remember without, asking if they wanted to, imposing his belief that memory was better than forgetting, that wholeness was worth the pain? He thought about his grandmother, who had remembered everything and died with a sadness in her eyes that had never quite left. He thought about his mother, who had forgotten but had seemed lighter somehow, less burdened. She had died with a smile on her face, even though she couldn't remember half her life. Which was better? Which was right? Thomas thought about Elara. If he broke the bottle, she would remember their relationship. She would remember every walk they'd taken, every conversation they'd shared, every moment of love between them. But she would also have to live with the memory of how it ended, of the pain of that loss. Right now, she was happy, or so he assumed. She had a husband she presumably loved, a life that presumably brought her joy. Would it be cruel to give her back memories that might complicate that happiness? But wasn't it also cruel to let her live without knowing a significant part of her own history, to let her go through life not fully knowing who she had been, who she had loved? The questions went in circles, chasing each other through his mind like the sheep he herded through the high meadows, around and around with no clear answer. As dawn approached, Thomas realized something. He was thinking about this as if he could know what was best for other people, as if he could calculate the harm and benefit, weigh them on some cosmic scale, and arrive at the objectively correct answer. But that was impossible. He couldn't know what each person in the village needed. He couldn't know whether memory or forgetting would serve them better. He could only make his best guess based on incomplete information and his own biases. And his bias was clear. He valued memory. He valued wholeness. He valued knowing yourself completely, even if that knowledge brought pain. But that was because he had never had the relief of forgetting. He had never known what it was like to be unburdened by the full weight of the past. Was he about to impose his values on an entire village? Or was he about to free them from a curse that had stolen their full humanity? The same action, viewed from different angles, looked entirely different. As the first light of dawn filtered through the window, Thomas heard a soft knock on his door. He opened it to find the shepherds standing there. "Come," they said. "There's someone you should meet." They led Thomas downstairs and out of the cottage into the forest. The trees were gray in the pre-dawn light, mist rising from the ground like ghosts. They walked for perhaps 10 minutes until they came to another clearing. In the center of the clearing was a circle of stones, ancient and weathered, and sitting on one of the stones was a figure translucent, barely there, like morning mist given form. "Thomas," the shepherd said, "this is your grandmother, or rather this is her echo, the memory of her that persists in the lost hours I've collected. Thomas stared. The figure did look like his grandmother, or how he remembered her from his childhood. She smiled at him, sad and warm. "Grandmother?" he whispered. "Not quite," she said, and her voice was like wind through leaves. "I'm what remains of her in the hours she lost. Before she died, a fragment, a shadow, but I can speak to you for a little while." Thomas sat down on the stone across from her. His heart was pounding. "Did you know?" he asked. "Did you know about all this? About the curse? About the shepherd?" "I suspected," she said. "I knew I was different, like you. I knew I remembered when others forgot, but I never found this place. I never knew the full story. I just carried the weight and wondered why." "What should I do?" Thomas asked. "Should I break the bottle? Should I give everyone their memories back?" His grandmother's echo looked at him with infinite compassion. "That's not for me to answer, my dear boy. I'm just a fragment of a woman long dead. But I can tell you what I learned, carrying memory alone all those years." She paused, and the mist that formed her seemed to ripple slightly in the morning breeze. "I learned that memory is both treasure and burden. I remembered every moment with your grandfather, every laugh, every argument, every quiet evening by the fire. When he died, I carried all of that, the joy and the grief, all perfectly preserved. It was," she searched for words, "it was almost too much. Some days I wished I could forget just a little, just enough to breathe." "But you never did," Thomas said. "No, because the alternative, losing those memories, losing the fullness of what we shared that felt like losing him twice. Better to carry the weight than to lose the treasure." "So you think I should break the bottle?" Thomas said. "I think," his grandmother said gently, "that there's no right answer. Only the answer you can live with. Only the world you want to create. Are you the kind of person who values memory above comfort, wholeness above ease, truth above peace?" "I don't know," Thomas admitted. "Then perhaps," she said, "you're not ready to choose, and that's all right too. Not choosing is also a choice. Leaving things as they are, allowing people to continue in their familiar patterns, that's valid too." The sun was rising now, sending long golden rays through the trees. In the growing light, his grandmother's echo began to fade. "Whatever you choose," she said, her voice growing fainter, "choose it with compassion. Choose it with humility. Choose it knowing that you cannot see all the consequences. Choose it as a human, flawed and limited, doing the best you can." And then she was gone, dissolved into the morning mist. Thomas and the shepherd walked back to the cottage in silence. Inside, the fire had burned down to embers. The shepherd added wood, and the flames leaped up again, casting their familiar dancing light. The bottle still sat on the table, pulsing with its accumulated hours. "I need to ask you something," Thomas said. "If I don't break the bottle, what happens to these hours, to these memories?" "They stay here," the shepherd said, "preserved, kept safe. Perhaps someday another descendant like you will come. Perhaps someday someone else will face this choice. Or perhaps they'll remain here forever, a testament to lives lived and forgotten. And if I do break it, then I will continue collecting new hours as they're lost, because the breaking of the bottle doesn't end the curse. It only returns what's already been taken. The curse itself would need to be addressed differently, but the accumulation of 2 centuries would be returned. After that, perhaps the weight of their full memories would give people the strength to break the curse themselves, or perhaps not. I can't see the future any more than you can. Thomas walked to the table. He picked up the bottle. It was warm in his hands, pulsing like a heart. Inside, he could see fragments of lives, a child taking their first steps, a couple growing old together, a woman tending her garden, a man laughing with friends, moments of ordinary beauty that had been lost. He thought about the ethics of paternalism, the idea that sometimes we have to make choices for others for their own good. But who decides what's good? Who has the wisdom to know what another person needs? He thought about the ethics of autonomy, the idea that people have the right to make their own choices, to live their own lives, even if those choices lead to suffering. But what if they can't make informed choices because they don't know what they're missing? He thought about the ethics of harm, the principle that we should avoid causing suffering. But both choices would cause suffering. The question was what kind of suffering and to whom? There was no answer that satisfied all ethical frameworks, no choice that honored all values. He would have to prioritize. He would have to decide which principle mattered most to him. And in the end, Thomas realized the decision came down to something simpler than ethics or philosophy. It came down to a question. What kind of person did he want to be? What kind of world did he want to live in? He looked at the shepherd. If I break this bottle, he said slowly, people will suffer. They'll remember pain they've been protected from. Some of them might not survive it. Yes, the shepherd said, but if I don't break it, Thomas continued, they'll continue living partial lives. They'll never know themselves fully. They'll never have the choice to decide for themselves what they can bear. Also, yes, the shepherd said. Thomas took a deep breath. I can't make this choice for them. It's not my right, but I also can't let them continue in ignorance, never knowing there's another possibility. He set the bottle back down on the table. Is there a third option? Can you let people know about this place? Let them come here if they want to. Let them choose for themselves whether to receive their lost hours back. The shepherd was quiet for a long moment, considering. Then they smiled, the first real smile Thomas had seen from them. Yes, they said, that could work. It would take time. People would have to remember that this place exists, would have to find their way here. Not everyone would come. Some would be too afraid. Some wouldn't believe. But those who wanted their memories back could have them. those who preferred to live unburdened could continue as they are. And me? Thomas asked. How do I tell them about this place when they'll just forget? I can lift that particular forgetting, the shepherd said. For the knowledge of this place, the memory of this conversation, I can make sure that stays. They'll forget other things, but not this, not the choice. Thomas returned to the village as the sun was fully rising, painting the thatched roofs golden and sending long shadows across the cobblestone streets. Frost greeted him with joyful barks, and his sheep looked up from there, grazing with mild interest. Everything looked the same, but Thomas knew that he would change it, slowly, gently, with compassion and humility. He started with the village square. He stood there and began to speak, telling everyone who would listen about the shepherd and the cottage in the forest, about the lost hours preserved in bottles, about the choice that could be made. At first, people looked at him strangely. Thomas, the shepherd who lived alone, who was known to be a bit odd, but he was also known to be honest, and something in his voice, in the certainty of his words, made people listen. I can't tell you what to do, Thomas said. I can't say whether remembering is better than forgetting. That's different for everyone. But I can tell you that the choice exists. And you deserve to know that. You deserve to decide for yourselves. Some people dismissed him. Some called him mad. But some, not many, but some looked thoughtful, looked interested, looked as if something in them had always known that pieces were missing. Over the following weeks, a few brave souls made the journey into the forest. Thomas drew them maps, gave them directions. The shepherd welcomed each one, showed them the bottles that contained their lost hours, explained what would happen if they drank. Some chose to drink. They received their memories back, the beautiful and the painful all together. They left the cottage weeping or laughing or silent with the weight of it. They returned to the village changed, more whole but also more burdened. Others looked at their bottles and chose to leave them. The weight was too much. The protection of forgetting was too precious. They returned to the village and continued their lives, but with the knowledge that they had made a choice that made the forgetting different somehow, more intentional, less like a curse and more like a decision. And Thomas continued tending his sheep. He continued carrying all his memories, but he was no longer alone in knowing. Other people now walked through the village with the weight of full memory, and he could talk to them, share with them, compare the burden, and find that it was lighter when carried together. Alara was one of those who chose to remember. She drank from her bottle one autumn evening, and the next day she came to Thomas's cottage. I remember, she said simply. They sat together on his porch, watching the sheep graze, and talked about what had been between them. It was bittersweet, the love they'd shared, the way it had ended. But it was also real, true, complete. I don't regret my life now, Ilara told him. I love my husband, I'm happy, but I'm glad to remember you too. I'm glad to know that I was capable of that kind of love, even if it didn't last. I'm glad you remember, Thomas said, and he meant it.